The Madden 27 cover has dropped, and it features Caleb Williams. He is the first Bears player ever to be featured on the cover of the Madden game.
What is that?
That used to be the kiss of death.
There is usually a curse associated
it used to be
with that.
I don't even want to say it.
Yep.
I don't even want to say it.
There goes Christmas, Greenie. There goes Christmas.
He's throwing the ball over Chicago, not Indiana, which is also nice to see.
At least for one more year.
Yes.
The Bears have the hardest schedule, the hardest strength of schedule of any team in the league, and now their quarterback is on the Madden cover. They have to overcome every possible obstacle, and yet they are my pick to go to the Super Bowl. Not the team that is turning into this year's version of the Dream Team. In Los Angeles yesterday, Myles Garrett was introduced to his new team after the blockbuster trade announcement. He talked about his enthusiasm in playing for the Rams and why they were the right destination for the second act of his Hall of Fame career.
Since the very beginning, it's always been about winning. And, it just breaks down to, the timing of everything. What does it realistically look like for, to be a winner now, and to have a opportunity to do that, immediately. That was an opportunity that was just, too difficult to pass up. Knowing I have the ability, late game to pin my ears back, not just because we need a play to be made, but because we have the lead, being able to make those game-changing plays to win the game for us. That is something I really look forward to.
The comparison I made yesterday, and Lewis, I think you would have been in the league when this happened, was when Reggie White went to Green Bay, when God told him that was the right place for him, and he went from Philadelphia to Green Bay as one of the first ever high-profile free agents. That's what this feels like to me, a team that is on the doorstep and ready to go, adding the best defensive player, one of the best defensive players ever.
What it reminds you of a little bit, and I drew this comparison, was when the Rams won Super Bowl 56, I believe it was, right back in the 21 season. Think about the defensive line that they had constructed back then when Von Miller was there with Aaron Donald, with Leonard Floyd, with A'Shaun Robinson on the inside, and with Jalen Ramsey at the slot. That was a formidable defense because they were so strong down the middle and could put your lights out when the game was on the line. This defense looks the same now. It looks the same. When you think about Kobe Turner on the inside, Braden Fiske on the inside, and then Myles Garrett on the outside. And then they have Byron Young, who led the team in sacks and pressures last year. It wasn't Jared Verse. It was Byron Young. And now they wind up bringing Aaron Donald back and adding that to the mix. Just think about it. I mean, I'm sure that Sean and Les are sitting there going, hey, man, we're really constructing a defense that looks very similar to the way we had it back in 21. And now that you have Trent McDuffie, who you can put in the star in the slot position in sub defense, look, this team's legit now.
If they add Aaron Donald, it might actually be unfair. We might have to cancel the season. Go ahead, Bart.
Such an overreaction.
What?
This wasn't needed. This is such an overreaction. This is a reaction to what happened in Seattle. They were fine. Jared Verse was there. They already had a great defensive line. This is overreaction, and I love it, Greenie. I love a great arms race. You talk about bringing in Myles Garrett. This is because they wasted an entire year of Matthew Stafford's life with the worst special teams in football and a leaky secondary. They go out and they get Trent McDuffie. That locked everything down. But this is just a cherry on top. This is because, and the reaction to JSN and his great season, I mean, I love it. They're going for it. But I think this is just the beginning of an arms race that we've seen all offseason.
Interestingly enough, he got there yesterday, and speaking of Rams sources, they're like, one thing you guys didn't mention on ESPN yesterday is that we got him at a bargain deal. I'm like, well, okay, slow down there. You're paying him a lot. Look at the numbers here. Myles Garrett's going to make $99 million over the next 3 years. If you're at home, you're like, it sounds like a lot. Will Anderson's making $50 million next year.
Yeah.
Jalen Phillips signed a deal, $90 million over the next 3 years. You're paying Myles Garrett just a smidge more than Jalen Phillips is getting over the next 3 years, and you're getting him at the prime of his career. And what he brings, obviously, is on the field, but it's not the rah-rah leadership, but it is this guy who's had the franchise on his back for 9 years, and he brings a whole different set of experiences and a hunger that he brings. I'll tell you yesterday, he got there, and this might make you roll your eyes, Bart. I know how you react to these kind of stories. Did the whole flight over there, did the whole press conference, did the entire deal with the media, met everybody, and then he looked at one of the Rams officials and says, "Where's the gym? I'd like to get a workout in." And they said, "All right." And he's like, "No, I mean it." Said, "Okay, come in tomorrow. We can do all that." That's how this guy is wired, and he's so hungry he hasn't won anything yet.
Well, we know he loves the gym, and he's probably got some of the freshest legs out of any great player in the league because he's never been in the playoffs. So he has an opportunity to chase. No, he has the opportunity to chase.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I get what you're saying. But look, if you looked at how Myles Garrett is strapped together, you know he likes the gym. Look, you know what? I think it's also this though. If you talk to Myles and you talk to him about the history of the game, his place in terms of the greats as far as that have ever rushed the passer, his impact on young players, his impact on the team overall as far as how people become very motivated when they see someone who, look, we've all been around. I don't know if we've all been around transcendent players, but this is one of them. This is one of these guys who truly does deserve that moniker.
And I'm glad.
Because he is different now. He's different. And Sean, unless they saw it too.
And I'm glad he gets this stage so we can see his greatness because we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for Joe Thomas because he was the greatest player that we never get to see on the big stage. And he gets an opportunity to shine and become a global. I think everybody in America knows who he is, but, you talk about the non-football guys that parachute in during the playoffs and the Super Bowl globally. He gets the opportunity to show his greatness.
Can I add to that? It's so crazy because when the Rams were doing their research into this and they desperately wanted him, the big feedback I got from the Rams was, we watched every play. We didn't realize how good he is. When you go back and watch, he is that good, and we didn't see it. And you add to it, they've got 7 primetime games, 2 Monday night games in the first 5 weeks. They're starting off the season in Australia on Netflix. Whole big deal. They're on Thanksgiving Eve. They're on Christmas. You're going to get a lot of Myles Garrett this year.
He had 5 sacks, and they lost by 20. You know how hard that is to do?
It's a true story, actually. They are favored, according to our analytics, to win every game they play this season. And remember, their games against the Seahawks are backloaded. We'll see where it goes. Meanwhile, in case you've missed it,
returning to play alongside Garrett, I shudder to think what FPI would consider the Rams if he does that. Help me and football junkies imagine what it would be like if Donald and Garrett are playing on the same defensive line.
Look, that's a nightmare for the rest of the NFL because it's not just Aaron, going along with Myles Garrett. Think about some of the other players that they have on this D-line already with Jared Verse coming back. I mean, not Jared Verse. I mean, you have guys like Kobe Turner coming back, who is a very good inside pass rusher as well. Byron Young on the outside, Braden Fiske on the inside. They are loaded up front. They're absolutely loaded up front. And then with Trent McDuffie in the back end, who slides into the nickel. Think back to Super Bowl 56 when they last won the Super Bowl, when Jalen Ramsey played that position and Aaron Donald was on that defense as well. That's what they're really trying to recreate. And you see it right here. Aaron has been working out like, he's been thinking about doing something over the past 2 years. I know he's just not working out like that just to walk around and look good. But this guy is one of the very best to ever do it. That kind of combination combined with the people who they already have on their roster would make this team so formidable. I mean, they would be must-see TV every week, even if they aren't already.
Yeah, look, Aaron Donald looks like he can literally still go out there on the field. Seth, the Patriots, they're ranked 14th in FPI right there. They just came off of a Super Bowl appearance. Why are they so low?
I know, this is some June bulletin board material for the reigning AFC champs. I think it has to do with a lot of how last season happened. They won 14 games in the regular season, but they did it against the easiest schedule in the NFL. And so we went into the playoffs. I don't think many people thought of them as being the best team in the AFC going into the playoffs. They get a little fortunate with the schedule in the playoffs too, getting the Broncos without Bo Nix. They don't have to go through Mahomes or Allen or Jackson on the way to the Super Bowl. And so that plays a role. Yes, I know it's a different team. A.J. Brown is in there now, but there are still some questions at key positions like tackle and edge rusher for this team. So they are a long shot contender, I would say, but I don't think we can call them anything better than that.
Yeah, Lewis, you heard Seth just mention the addition of A.J. Brown. That obviously should help Drake May in the offense. How do you see him fitting in to New England's offensive plan?
He's going to fit in seamlessly. Look, Josh McDaniels has already mentioned the fact that this guy is such a big body and such a forceful presence because of the way in which he is put together. And he compared it to Gronk, okay? He's comparing A.J. Brown, who's one of the best true number one outside lane winners in the NFL, to a tight end simply because of how big and the kind of force that he brings to the football field. That's exactly what you're looking at and looking for in a true alpha number one wide receiver. I remember a conversation I had with Devontae Adams years ago, and I asked him what exactly does make a number one wide receiver. And he said, look, that's the guy who, when you put him outside the numbers and everyone in the stadium, everyone on the opposing sideline, everyone on your sideline knows you're throwing the football to him, and he makes the catch anyway. That's what A.J. Brown is. That's why they wanted him so badly. And I think considering how now he feels about playing for Mike Vrabel and being comfortable again, I think you're going to wind up seeing him have his best year of his career.
A.J. Brown on the